to a sweltering Tempe, Arizona. With the temperature in triple digits, it's the Big 12 Conference here on ESPN. Let's go down to the field. Here's Lauren Sisler.
What's going on, Brian? You ain't kidding. It is hot here. 105 degrees down here on the field. I am sweating. I need some hydration. I talked to Matt Gildersleeve. He's the head strength and conditioning coach for Kansas. I said, what did y'all do differently this week? And he said, well, they did hydration tests starting on Sunday every single morning until game day. Also on Wednesday, they said they went in the indoor facility. They cranked up the heat to 102 degrees, y'all, getting it right. And he said, look, we can't get too hyped about this, though. We don't want this to impact the mindset. We got to go out here and play ball.
Kansas won the toss, opted to defer, so we will see Arizona State with the football first. And that means Sam Leavitt. He's the freshman, the transfer out of Michigan State. He's completed nearly 60% of his passes. He's thrown for 855 yards this season, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Now look, he can run it as well. He's run for 180 yards and 4 scores, Rob.
He was the Gatorade High School Player of the Year in Oregon when he came out and went to Michigan State. Didn't play much at Michigan State and transferred here for this season.
You'll see a lot of this man with the football, and that's Cam Scatterbo over that left side.
You know, and Leavitt, when he found out that Jonathan Smith was being hired as the head coach at Michigan State, he said, I'm out of here. He remembered that Jonathan Smith did not recruit him, did not like him coming out of high school, man.
You go where you want it.
Yeah.
And he's found a home here at Arizona State.
He is a guy with a big, strong arm, as you mentioned, can really run, really good athlete.
He's going to keep it. He shows that athletic ability, and he's got a first down. He crosses the 40. Taiwan Berryhill Jr.
Yeah, he
makes
is
the stop for the Jayhawks.
You could drive a few trucks through that hole. A little action to the right side, coming back on that zone read. Great play.
Leavitt through the air, the slant. Jordan Tyson. This is their alpha number 1 on the outside. Tyson, the redshirt sophomore out of Allen, Texas.
Yeah, he took a big hit, and this is really a big part of the Arizona State offense. They run a lot of slants, and you can be certain that that was something Kansas keyed into. The slant can be a really good route for an offense, but can also be very dangerous for receivers because you don't see the defensive back coming. And if you're sitting in a zone defense and you know a team runs slants, you are looking for that area.
That was O.J. Burroughs who laid the wood to Jordan Tyson, who is still down.
You know, and Tyson is a guy that they've been counting on to be really productive for them.
Take a look at our impact players. They are brought to you by Carfax, and this Jordan Tyson's one of them.
Yeah, you take a look on the Kansas side. Luke Grimm, big-time receiver. They need him. He's the go-to guy. Taiwan Berryhill, big shoes to fill. Cornell Wheeler is out. He's stepping in. And Tyson, well, he's down, but at least he's gotten up now. And C.J. Fight, big defensive lineman up front, really active for Arizona State. It's good to see Tyson, one of our impact players, up and walking.
He's the transfer out of Colorado. Popped right up, walks off.
Leading receiver in terms of catches for Arizona State with 14.
A couple of running backs, Scatterbo and Raleek Brown, who is back. End around to Brown. Tries to get around that edge. Maybe a couple.
Yeah, he's the guy that they're happy to have back. He brings a different element to this offense, a lot of quickness and speed, the ability to get to the perimeter. Because by and large, this rushing attack is more of an inside rushing attack with Scatterbo. Because he just as soon run over you as run around you.
And a flag. Kevin Boitman is today's referee.
I want to go back to Levitt for a minute. How do you not recruit the Gatorade National State High School Player of the Year, and you are Oregon State? You're right there. I think he had every right to be a little ticked off at Jonathan Smith when he was the head coach there.
Number 5, offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
That'll push the Sun Devils back 5. Here's Kenny Dillingham. Now in his second season, he is animated.
Yeah.
Here at his alma mater. This is his first head coaching job. You know, he was an OC at Memphis and Florida, Oregon, Auburn. Through the air, Levitt, plenty of time.
Oh, he's got to run.
And he's take off. He's got a first down and more.
Well, that whole side opened up for him, and he wasn't very decisive. He was sort of waiting to see if he could throw it down the field, but you're looking, dude, you've got 20 yards of freedom in front of you. Take off. And he finally did. Watch how long he waits to go. It's like, okay, I'm gone. I'm out of here.
16-yard pickup. Arizona State, 1st and 10 from the Jayhawk 32. Quickly to the outside, receiver screen to Jake Smith.
Oh, what a play. What a play by Mello Dotson out there, the corner. He is the leading tackler as a corner for Kansas, and also leads with picks. And on that play, he just destroyed the blocker and made the tackle. That's a 2-for-1.
He's got 3 interceptions on the season. Had one last week against TCU.
Trying to prove that he is every bit as good as his running mate on the other side, Kobe Bryant, who gets a little bit more attention.
2 tight ends here for the Sun Devils. Play fake to Relic Brown to the outside, looking for Guillory. Got him! Touchdown! Xavier Guillory. First touchdown of the season for Arizona State. And it's the Sun Devils who strike first.
What a throw and what a catch. You could not do that better if you reached out and handed that ball. Levitt drops this in the bucket perfectly. It's man coverage. And Guillory does a good job of creating enough space on the outside so that his quarterback had an easy decision about where to put the football. He didn't allow the corner to push him to the sideline.
Ian Hershey with the extra point. And it is Arizona State up 7-0. They take the opening kick and go right down the field. 7 plays, 75 yards. They do it in 3 minutes. And Sam Levitt loves it. We'll be back here in Tempe. Here in Tempe, Arizona, Arizona State takes the opening kick, goes 7 plays, 75 yards. They did it in 3 minutes and 16 seconds. In fact, that's the first opening drive touchdown that this Kansas defense has given up this season.
Hey, partner, how you doing with the heat?
Hey, I'm powering through it.
I know, yeah. 105, huh?
I hope them big boys down on the field.
Well, it's starting to get a little shade down there.
Touchback. Arizona State in the first quarter have been averaging about 34 yards in the first quarter. They put up 45 yards on that opening drive. So let's look at Kansas and see what we got going here. And so far, it has been Mr. Consistency. Devin Neal has been the story. He's got 16 career 100-yard rushing games, one shy of tying Tony Sands for the most in Kansas history. In fact, he needs just 3 yards to pass James Sims for third most rushing yards in Kansas history. Flanked out. And they will give it to him over that right side.
He is a dynamic runner. He will finish as one of the top 3 running backs probably in the history of Kansas football. Probably right behind Gale Sayers and John Riggins. 2 all-time greats.
Hey, listen, he's from Lawrence, hometown hero. One of the best they've ever had. Shout out to my guy, Monty Cousins, who I went to high school with, running back at Kansas. Daniels throwing incomplete. Boy, he had Clayton Smith and a pack of Sun Devils hanging on him.
Arizona State came with a little pressure and a little stunt game up front with their defensive line. And Daniels expected to be free, but nope. Clayton Smith was hanging out looking for him. Big third down early on. This is a rhythm sort of opening to the game. Having been down by 7, they need to continue this drive with a first down.
Daniels rolling, throwing on the run. That was to Luke Grimm, and it's a catch. You want to talk about his main target? We will be talking a lot about Luke Grimm this afternoon.
You talk about impact player. He shows up on a third down when they need it. Watch how he drags that foot to stay in bounds. Knows exactly where he is on the field. Keeps this drive alive.
He's their leading receiver in catches, receiving yards. Play fake to the outside. Skinner. And he's bottled up after a yard pickup.
You can see there is a concerted effort by the offensive coordinator, Jeff Grimes, to get his quarterback, Daniels, comfortable. A little hitch pass, get him moving out of the pocket so he can see the field better. All those things to get him settled. The other way to get him settled is let Neal do some work, right?
Run that football.
And Devin Neal is a guy who can get you 100 yards a game in a heartbeat.
Here's Neal. Pick up a 4. He's now third all-time in rushing in Kansas history with that pickup.
There's Jeff Grimes there in the gray T-shirt and the hat on. Known for his devotion to the outside zone and developing offensive linemen.
Daniels to Neal. That's a first down. He's across midfield. And finally brought down at the 32 of Arizona State. That's a 26-yard pickup by the Jayhawks.
You know, they don't use him much out of the backfield. That's only his 4th catch of the season. But nice, soft hands, does a nice job of adjusting to the ball without losing stride. He's got to be featured. He's the guy that you can count on, as you said, the most reliable part of this offense right now.
This has been the Devin Neal drive thus far. Here's Daniels, he'll keep it. Takes a lick, gets outside. Javen Robinson is the one who hit him as he gets out of bounds.
So Devin Neal has 2 straight seasons of over 1,000 yards rushing. He'll be one of the few guys who, has a chance to go 3 straight years with 1,000 yards. That is select company.
Daniel Highshaw has joined him in the backfield. That's Highshaw in motion. He'll swing it out to Neal. He's got Highshaw in front of him. He's brought down at the 25 of Arizona State.
I love the way they're using Daniels. You notice he hasn't been stuck in the pocket. They've moved him, and all the throws are nice, easy throws to the outside. Things that can get him settled, keeping him away from throwing the ball over the middle of the field. You got a 3rd down, probably an area where you have a couple of downs. You could probably go 4 downs here on this drive.
Mass substitutions in and out. Offense and defensive line here. Keep it on the ground with Highshaw. And he is close to a 1st down. Keyshawn Elliott makes the stop for the Sun Devils. And they say it is enough. And they'll move the chains. And for the Jayhawks and their head coach, Lance Leipold, now in his 4th season. Again, they've lost 4 straight. Those 4 losses equal the total number they had last year. He led Kansas to a 9-4 season last year. 6-7 the year before that. Leipold, in fact, has led Kansas to back-to-back bowl games.
The ruling in the field as a line to gain was made for a 1st down. The play is under further review.
So we'll take another look at it.
Leipold is trying to figure out what is wrong with this team. A team that started the season top 25, 9 wins last season, expected to be in the hunt for a Big 12 championship. September was a month to forget for them. And the problems, you see what's happened under him, they were climbing the chart. 2-10, 6-7, 9-4, and then now 1-4. You keep climbing the record chart. You don't want to be a one-hit wonder with 1 season.
See, they're taking another look here at the spot. 1st down, line to gain was at the 22.
Yeah, it's where the ball is when his knee made contact with the ground.
After further review, the ruling in the field of a 1st down stands.
1st and 10, Kansas. The drive continues.
That means they did not see enough to change the call. One-hit wonder. I mean, that's what Kansas is facing. I mean, if they don't get it together this season after a 9-win season, last season will be seen and looked at as an aberration.
.6:30 to go here in the 1st quarter. Daniels keeps it. Daniels inside the 10 to the 5. Touchdown, Kansas. That is vintage Jalen Daniels, his 3rd rushing touchdown of the season.
That is exactly what that young man needs. I mean, another zone read action. You see the whole side of that defense collapse to the defense's right side, and it was wide open for Daniels. And for his confidence and his feeling comfortable, that was great. I love the swagger on the sideline by him. That is what he's been missing, and what the team's been missing is that air of confidence from him.
Tabor Allen with the extra point, so both teams take their first offensive possession to the house for 6. Jalen Daniels 10 plays, 75 yards. They did it in 5:20. And it's Daniels capping it off with that touchdown run. We're all tied up at 7 here in Tempe.
ESPN College Football Primetime is presented by Geico. Get more with Geico.
All tied up at 7 here in Tempe, Arizona. Kansas, their opening drive. So 10 plays, 75 yards. Jalen Daniels with the touchdown run. 22 yards out. Roar Allen to kick things away. Jake Smith back deep for ASU. First ever meeting between Kansas and Arizona State. In fact, first Big 12 home game for the Sun Devils. Sam Levitt, he was just about perfect. 3 of 3, 45 yards through the air, touchdown pass in that first drive, also ran for 25 yards.
Oh, he did it with his legs. 2 big runs in that opening drive, and then the most beautiful throw on that fade. Just dropped that ball right in. Receiver did a great job of creating space so he'd have room to drop that ball in there.
Through the air, escapes the pressure, and once again gets a first down.
Yeah, the one thing that Brian Borland, the defensive coordinator, kept harping on when we talked to him earlier this week was keeping Levitt in the pocket and not letting him run straight up the field.
Well, he said he's got to beat us with his arm, not his legs.
Well, right now it's his legs. Well, his arm wasn't bad either on that touchdown throw, but the legs are just really, really a problem for Kansas.
It's 1st and 10 from the 35. This is Scattaboo, and he is wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage. Dean Miller.
It seems like this defense is so focused on stopping Scattaboo that they're not paying as much attention to the running ability of Levitt. And Scattaboo has 5 yards on a couple of carries.
He'll get the carry again. They call him a bowling ball. He just plows forward, and he does that for a 5-yard pickup.
He is a guy that you better come to play when you play him, because he is going to be physical and come at you. He's a guy that, in my view, he's looking for car crash after car crash on the field. He initiates everything.
3rd down. Through the air, again to the outside, looking at Guillory again, and overshoots him. He was running step by step with Mello Dotson.
Just not enough room, not a great throw. Seems like that was more of a, hey, let me throw it up and hope we get something. Real key for that Kansas defense was really that first down play when they were able to make a tackle in the backfield on Scattaboo.
Kenyon Floyd will come in and punt things away for Arizona State. Trevor Wilson standing at his own 15. Takes Arizona State bounce, and they will down it at the 10, and it looked like they tried to push the Jayhawks on that football.
All is fair, right? All is fair in love and war.
There's no touching on the play. The ball was already dead.
49-yard punt, no return, and would you say nothing wrong with a little push?
No.
No. Hey, get on that football. 7-7. We'll be right back. Yeah, that was something, Kev. That was something.
Wow.
We're all tied up at 7 here in the first quarter. Daniel Highshaw in the backfield. It's Highshaw with the carry, and he's over that right side. You know, this Arizona State defense, especially when it comes to stopping the run, stingy at home. In 2 games here at home so far this season, they're only giving up like 32 yards rushing.
Yeah, they're...
Well, Kansas has already put up over 40.
Yep. This defense tends to be bend, but don't break. They don't like to blitz an awful lot, only about 22% of the time.
2 tight ends. Cut back is Highshaw.
That time defensively, they started to switch it up a little bit, bring in their linebackers, Crook and Elliott. And on this 3rd down, we'll see if they come with the pressure again or run some sort of a game, because I think they discovered in that first drive they were not in position, sitting back, particularly on the quarterback run. So 3rd down here, how do they play it? Do they sit tight on defense, or do they bring a little pressure, assuming there'll be a run that they can put a run blitz into?
Jayhawks have been perfect on 3rd down, 3 for 3. They run the option. Daniels keeping it. Daniels smothered, loses a couple. Keyshawn Elliott, the first guy to meet him.
Oh, they did a tremendous job of stringing that play out. The play on the edge was fantastic. There was no room for Daniels to make a decision and cut up the field, and they kept stringing. Watch the edge play. They do a great job on the edge, and that looked like, I don't know which defender that was, but that was someone, that was Elijah O'Neal, 15, who really strung that thing out and allowed his teammates to come and make a play. That's called trusting your teammates.
Raymond Greaves will have to punt it away, nearly blocked. Melquan Stovall calls for the fair catch. And they'll start things from their own 44. Well, Arizona State brought in 60 new players in the offseason, 32 transfers, and let me tell you something. These guys have been their production. 100% of their pass yards from transfers. 91% of their rushing yards come from these guys. 89% of their catches and 68% of their tackles, all from the new players.
They got some players from New Mexico State that had their best team ever. And you know what? Dustin Pavia at Vanderbilt was a teammate of theirs, initiated that upset over Alabama today.
That pass is incomplete. It was intended for Raleek Brown, and that was J.B. Brown in coverage.
So New Mexico State has been giving some talent to some teams that are making an impact, not just here, but in that Vandy game.
Second and 10. Jayhawks show pressure to the outside, and incomplete again to Brown. And I'll tell you what, O.J. Burrows is hitting some folk.
Yeah, he does bring it, doesn't he? And you know, he's not that big a guy. I mean, he's only 185 pounds, but he shows up meaning to do serious harm.
He's a senior out of Savannah.
Let's see if this coverage is a disguise. They were showing it too deep. They come out of it. They're playing man free.
Levitt throwing. Got a man behind the defense, and it was Melquan Stovall, and that one went off his hands.
Yeah, they are working on that matchup with Mello Dotson. I mean, every deep ball has been thrown in his direction. You know, they used Guillory over there, and now it's Stovall. And Stovall had a shot at this, couldn't come up with it. Kansas fans are happy about it. Arizona State fans were saying, hey, a little pass interference. He didn't turn around, but he was playing the ball. Got his hands up there towards the ball.
Kenyon Floyd will punt things away. Wilson standing at his own 20, and we got a flag.
You know, the other thing is officials are allowing
Delay of game. offense. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Officials are allowing receivers and defensive backs to have a bit more contact down the field, particularly when they notice that it's a little mutual or if it's all about the ball. So just because they're contact in this day and age, they're just not throwing the flag automatically.
Fair catch by Wilson. Jayhawks start things off from their own 15. Hey, what an SEC on ABC College Football lineup we got for you next Saturday. You got Alabama, who just went down to Vanderbilt today. They're hosting South Carolina. That's at noon. And then you've got the 120th Red rivalry game between Texas, Oklahoma, and of course we'll cap the night with Ole Miss taking on LSU in Death Valley.
You feel a little bit cooler? We're
down to 104.
We're down to 104.
Hey, 1/10 at a time. I'm with it. Under 2 minutes left here in this quarter. Here's Daniels. He'll swing it out to Neal. Neal breaks a tackle, brought down across the 20.
Everything is about confidence for Daniels. Swing passes, hitch passes, and letting Neal do the work. And that's not a bad option when you're talking about a guy who's going to own just about every rushing record. That screen pass or slip screen is really just kind of a long handoff to him.
Now they go Wildcat to Neal. Direct snap, and he's got a first down. Let's go down to the field. Here's Lauren.
Hey, Rod, you mentioned the word confidence. You know, that nagging back injury, Jalen missed a lot of time the last 2 years, and that really affected his connection with his receivers. But Coach Grimes said when it's clicking, it feels like any play they call will work. When it's not, they got to call the perfect play. They're missing that bit of in-sync stuff. But how do you get it back? You just get the reps in. You work through it through practice and here in the game, trying to get that swag back a little bit.
Neal in motion. And to the outside, it's Neal. And that's another first down for Kansas.
Yeah, get the ball out quick. And as Lauren was talking about, getting that swag back, you know, that's the play that will do it too, because quickly get the ball out. Pressure was coming, inside blitz. Receiver recognized it, and that's that timing coordination. You know, pressure coming, quarterback knows it, receiver knows it, stops, and there's the ball. Good job by Neal.
So we've played one here at Arizona State. First ever meeting between these two programs, and we're all tied at 7.
That is the end of the first quarter.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
That pass incomplete. He was looking at Quentin Skinner a little bit too high for Skinner. You heard Coach talk about getting Devin Neal involved a little bit, more than a little bit. You know, Neal already has 4 catches, 45 yards receiving. That's more yards than he has receiving all this season.
Yeah.
Well, coming into the game, he had 38 yards receiving this year. He's already got 45 here tonight.
Yeah, give Kansas credit for tweaking their tendencies and adjusting in this game and making use of him, something that Arizona State probably wasn't expecting. It's a matchup they'll have to deal with.
Pressure and a flag.
False start. Number 77, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Did I actually hear Leipold say it's actually comfortable?
He did say that.
At 104 degrees,
Yeah.
it's comfortable out there. I'm not sure his players agree, but mad respect for these fans who sit out there in these hot metal benches in 104-degree heat. I don't know that I would.
Down to the field in Lauren.
I was going to say, I don't know about comfortable. I am still soaking wet down here. These fans that were going strong, these guys are breathing pretty hard, but Rod, you're right. The fans, they're taking one for the team.
They run the option And that went nowhere. Clayton Smith makes the stop.
Well, again, Arizona State is doing a tremendous job on the edge, stringing those plays out and chasing it down from the inside out. Again, you had that play once again with O'Neal doing a really good job stringing this thing out. A little help from my friends. As long as you are in communication, you know your buddies are coming from the other direction, can make that play, stop them.
3 or 4 on third down. This is 3rd and 16. Daniels throwing to the outside. It's a strike to Quentin Skinner.
Wow. Wow. Did you see that throw? Man, that is a big-time throw as he was running out of time. I mean, he threw a laser across the field, right where his guy could get it, right at the marker. That's beautiful.
Go with a little tempo at midfield, and it's Highshaw over the left side.
I know we've talked about this before, but you can see the difference in Daniel's confidence when he's throwing to the outside versus the middle. Darts like that are common for him when he's throwing outside. Over the middle, a little bit tougher, a little bit more cautious. You saw that last throw was high, not the same sort of aggressive confidence as when he's throwing to the outside.
Daniels with 74 yards passing right now. He'll keep it and throw it to Highshaw. Highshaw gets a block to the outside, puts his head down, and forced out of bounds by Miles Rouser at the 29. That's a 17-yard pickup for the Jayhawks.
Yeah, it's the running backs in the passing game that has been a problem for Arizona State. The backs out of the backfield. It was Neal, now it's Highsmith, just leaking out of the backfield, completely ignored and forgotten about by the Arizona State defense. That is an adjustment that they'll have to make because Kansas will keep going back to that.
Highshaw will come out. It's Neal now in the backfield. And it's Neal who gets the carry. And he runs into an Arizona State wall and loses a yard.
Yeah, that time it was Prince Dorba on the edge, really pushing things back inside. I think Kansas keeps testing the perimeter here, but they're finding out that Arizona State is not going to let them run outside. And that's the one thing that they've discovered by, this attempt to get out there is that, no, it's not working. The edge players are shutting it down.
Highshaw and Neal came into this game with a total of 5 catches. They already have 5 combined here today. Wide open is Skinner. Touchdown, Jayhawks.
That is a blown assignment, a miscommunication on the back end. And if there's one place you cannot have that in the secondary, it is on that end of the field because it's an easy touchdown. And somehow the corner, Lawrence Welch, and the safeties to that side had a mix-up. And after the play, Welch starts looking to his safety and says, "Where were you?" I mean, he thinks he's got help out there, and there's nobody back there. So between the two of them on that side, a miscommunication as to what the coverage was supposed to be.
Allen boots through the extra point, and it's Kansas with a 7-point lead here in the second quarter. 10 plays, 85 yards. Jalen Daniels finds a wide open Quentin Skinner. It's 14-7 Jayhawks. Okay, and right here, it is the Jayhawks with a 14-point lead. First time Arizona State has trailed at home this season, Rob.
Yeah, and this mix-up on the back end is really what cost them when you take a look at their secondary. Miscommunication. Welch, the corner on that side, thinks he's got safety help deep behind him, as you have in cover 2. But instead, his safety to that side, Rouser, thinks, I got the number 2 receiver to this side, which is the tight end, and if he goes straight, I go with him, as you would in a quarters coverage. So a miscommunication between the two. Do I have safety help or not?
End result was Skinner's first touchdown of the season. And here's Scatterboo. He gets loose. He's got a first down and more. J.B. Brown makes the stop, but not before Scatterboo scatters his way for a 13-yard pickup.
Nobody wanted him out of high school. He had one offer, none at the FBS level, only at Sacramento State. That was it. He was considered too small, too slow.
He's done a lot to rectify that as he goes straight ahead.
Well, he's done a lot. He's now an NFL prospect.
Take a look at what he did at Sacramento State. I mean, 1,300 yards a couple seasons ago, and this is what he's done now at Arizona State. He gets the call again, cuts back, cross midfield. Scatterboo still going and brought down at the 42-yard line, 47-yard line. O.J. Burrows makes the stop, but it's a 20-yard pickup for Scatterboo.
Yeah, again, that zone movement of the offensive line to one side, the entire defense went with it, and they're coming back to that open side.
Carlos Brooks has checked into the backfield. And it's Brooks gets the carry. Keeps the legs churning and brought down at the 30-yard line. Taywan Berryhill Jr. makes the stop. Down to the field, here's Lauren.
Hey guys, you talk about Scatterboo, and Coach Dillingham said, look, are we back in the 90s? He reminded him of Bucky Irving. You mentioned that earlier for his quickness, that throwback kind of player, that maturity for him. And Scatterboo's competitive, emotional, high energy, losing his mind. I've seen him over here on the sidelines, and he is just absolute all energy all the time. He wants the football, believing that he can make an impact on every play.
Here's Levitt. That's enough for a first down.
Yeah, Scatterboo is something. He's a guy who he played for Troy Taylor at Sacramento State, who is now the head coach at Stanford. And Scatterboo thought he might be able to follow Taylor to Stanford, but he said, nah, you know, it's too tough with the transferring rules and limitations that Stanford has. He couldn't make that happen. But Dillingham was very familiar with him. His staff was. They were happy to have him.
Told him to get faster. He's done that. 8% body fat. He's ready. Brooks dropped it.
Oh, that's too bad.
Boy, he had a lot of green in front of him.
And that was a tremendous read by Levitt. He looked deep. He wanted to take a shot. And I think a week or two ago, he would have thrown that ball and it would have been picked. But he's maturing every week. And instead, he comes off to the check down here, comes back, and this should have been a big play. I mean, that was such a great decision by Levitt. You can see this young quarterback getting better week by week.
Well, Levitt started 3 for 3 on that opening drive. Since then, gone 0 for 5 for making that one. And Astro Omi Ray.
Have you noticed that when they throw for wide receivers, they keep going at Mello Dotson? They have not challenged Kobe Bryant on the other side.
Inside the red zone. 3rd down here for Arizona State, who have yet to convert one. This is the first red zone trip for either squad. It's Scatterboo. Maybe one, Tommy Dunn, the first guy to meet him.
Decision time for Kenny Dillingham. He is known to be very aggressive. He said, I don't use the book.
More of a field guy.
I'm a field guy. He knows the book backwards and forwards. He knows all the analytics, but he says, you know what? I got to feel the flow of the game, and right now he's feeling like he needs to get this 4th down and not kick a field goal.
And a flag. And maybe it was Arizona State.
That might change his mind.
False start. Number 79, offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
That was the center, Lee Faltanu. And you can hear one of them saying, hey, look how we were making a check. That hurts.
Yeah.
So they'll go for the 3. And that means Ian Hershey, 7 for 9 so far this season.
He's got a leg. He was booming him outside of 50 yards pre-game.
This is from 38. And blocked. How about the Jayhawks? I think that might have been Keenan Caldwell.
Wow.
Caldwell gets that paw up. And how about the Jayhawks, who got done in by a special teams play in their last week game, come up with a special teams play here against Arizona State, and they've got a 7-point lead.
The new 12-team college football playoff begins December 20th on ESPN.
Yeah, that's how I get by.
Kansas has blocked a field goal for the first time in 2 years. Got to go back to week 1 when they played Tennessee Tech. We said at the top of the show, maybe this is the game that the Jayhawks and Jalen Daniels turn things around. Well, Rod, Jalen Daniels, this first game with a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown this season. In fact, first time he's done this in 2 years.
Yeah, he's looking like that guy of 2 years ago. He's having a breakout game, and credit Jeff Grimes, the offensive coordinator, for getting him comfortable at the start, making it easy for him so he could get some confidence and swagger back.
Daniels will go through the air again and throw, and that is again to Skinner. And Skinner's brought down at midfield.
He's feeling it right now. You know, they are playing to his strengths. That was a beautiful back shoulder throw. His big throws have come to the outside where he just lets it rip. He's comfortable, lets it go. They're keeping him away from the middle of the field where he's had some trouble this year seeing the underneath coverage. Instead, they go outside, easier to see, and he just lets it rip.
Looks like they're going to go to the Wildcat. Torrey Lachlan.
False start. Number 8, offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Daniels is 10 of 12 passing. Remember, he came into this game at 53%. He's a lot better than that right
Correction,
now.
the penalty was on number 6.
Now from their own 45. They'll give it to Neal. And he gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Elijah O'Neal with the stop. Hey, Lauren.
Yeah, Brian, Rod, you're right. There's a swagger about Jalen happening right now. 2 weeks ago against West Virginia, I didn't see this same swagger. He was in here in the huddle just a bit ago. We had the music vibing here in the timeout, and he was literally belting it out loud, having the time of my life. I know y'all didn't want to hear me sing, but he's down here having a good time, and you can tell he's got a little confidence, a little swagger, and he's having fun.
You're having a good time, too. I think that heat is getting to you a little bit.
I mean, I know. I'm staying hydrated, doing my thing, little swag surf. Got it going on.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not mad at her.
2nd and 10 now for Kansas. Daniels flips it in the end around. This is Wilson. He's got a first down, nearly to the first down, and brought down about 3 yards shy.
And Arizona State they're like, wow, we missed this. I mean, they had penetration. They had this play snuffed out, but the last reverse got them. They got all these guys in the backfield. Fortunately, they had their defensive linemen stay home and force the play back inside to create this 3rd down situation.
2 tight ends. Jayhawks 4 of 5 on 3rd down. They've been great thus far. Daniels throws too high.
Yeah.
Too high for Luke Grimm.
Yeah. His incompletions have come over the middle, and they've been high throws. Again, I understand they're moving to get him back to things, but really, when you got to have it, he's most comfortable throwing outside. Watch where this ball is high again. So we've seen a couple of those throws inside, and the receivers are aware that Arizona State, they're hunting those slants.
And you had him. Greaves will kick things away. Melquan Stovall standing inside of his own 10. Fair caught at the 10. 34-yard punt. 7-point lead for Kansas. All the middle 8 from Arizona State. These middle 8 minutes. Last basically 4 minutes of the first half to the first 4 minutes of that second half. And Arizona State, when you talk about the last 4 minutes of the second quarter through the first 4 minutes of the third quarter, have outscored their opponents 35-3. So this is a key area where their coach says, we got to put the pedal to the metal and put points on the board.
It is a point of emphasis, and those teams that emphasize it usually perform better than others that don't.
Levitt flushed, throws, crosses body to Scatterboom, middle of the field. And it's a first down.
You know how remarkable that is for such a young quarterback? This is only his 5th start. He didn't start a game last season. He never panicked. He's rolling out to his right. He's being chased, kept his composure, and came all the way back across the field to find Scadaboo. Now, you don't normally like to see a quarterback throw back across the field like that, but Scadaboo was wide open.
Substitutions, especially on the defensive side of the football. Malik Brown gets the carry. Twisting his way to the 35-yard line. 5-yard pickup. Transfer from USC.
Speedster.
He was a 5-star recruit, too.
Big time.
Cali.
Big time recruit. He gives this offense a different dimension.
Whoa. He was looking at Jordan Tyson at the slant, but that was way too hot.
I can assure you that Kansas defense has been made well aware of the slants, but how about the pressure off the edge that you get from Dean Miller? Not the biggest defensive end, but a guy who moves well, one of their faster players. He certainly arrived at Levitt that time.
3rd and 5. Sun Devils have not converted on 3rd down yet, and still haven't.
Yeah, again, slant routes. And when you watch Arizona State on tape, you see a lot of those. So you get conditioned to thinking that is their go-to route, and you're going to overplay it, and that works fine until Arizona State starts to adjust and starts running something different, slant and go, that sort of thing. But the slant route is something that Kansas obviously is prepared for.
That was Marvin Grant who made the stop for the Jayhawks. He plays that star position for Kansas. Trevor Wilson standing at his own 25. Oh, it's a fake, and he's got a man wide open. It's a 1st down and more. Brought down inside Kansas territory. That's Clayton Smith.
Clayton Smith is not supposed to catch the football. He's a defensive end, defensive lineman, plays on special teams, but he is not a guy that you would expect to have catch the ball. 6'4", 240. He's the 2-time transfer from Oklahoma. And boy, they really fooled Kansas with that one.
Yeah, they did. Kenyon Floyd, he's the freshman punter. Good throw. They can't convert 3rd downs, but they convert a 4th down. Here's Scadaboo. To the 45.
How about his yards after contact? He just, man, when he sees a tackler, he just goes right after him.
We've reached the 2-minute timeout.
This is the 2-minute timeout.
And it's a 7-point lead for the Jayhawks. And we will do that.
I think
Here's Levitt over the middle. That's caught by Jordan Tyson. And they ripped the football away from him. It looked like Mello Dotson was the guy.
And that whistle wasn't until much later.
No signal yet.
Only the Kansas players.
The ruling in the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Kansas.
There you have it, Mello Dotson. They've been picking on him all night long, and redemption.
He says, I got a little something for you coming my way. Ripping the ball out, getting the recovery. And so the question on replay is really whether he was down before the ball came out. Nope, he is standing up. There was no whistle until much later. I think replay is going to confirm this call on the field.
Just the third turnover this season by Arizona State. They had the fewest in the Big 12. That one's incomplete.
We talk about the middle 8 and Arizona State. Again, a fourth down trickeration to keep control of the ball. And now they turn it over, so they're falling behind and trying to control the first 4 minutes of the middle 8.
And keep in mind, Kansas gets the football to begin the second half.
That's right. So they would have the back-to-back possessions that Kenny Dillingham said he didn't want to see them get, that he wanted to have.
Here's Highshaw. Finds a little seam, gets to the 40.
You have plenty of time to work this clock.
3 timeouts.
3 timeouts. Your quarterback is playing well.
Timeout, Arizona State.
You can roll with that. Kansas did a good job of getting Jalen Daniels comfortable.
Seconds.
No reason to change from any of that and to take any unnecessary risks with him, but they've got time to use their timeouts and play the game they have so far.
We'll kick off your Week 5 NFL Sunday with that countdown crew. Before the Cowboys and Steelers renew their rivalry, we'll look at how Dallas's injuries certainly will impact the game. DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, and all the latest news from Adam Schefter on Sunday NFL Countdown, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN and the app. And then Monday Night Football matchups got the Chiefs, the Saints, Arrowhead, 8 Eastern, ESPN and ESPN Deportes. Of course, you got Peyton and Eli on ESPN2. 2 tight ends now for the Jayhawks. Devin Neal in the backfield. 3rd down and 5 from their own 40. 4 of 6 on 3rd down. It's Neal. Maybe a yard.
Tremendous job up front by Arizona State. A little bit surprised by that call.
Timeout, Arizona
in that situation,
State,
given that they've had success throwing the ball, particularly to their running backs.
30 seconds.
But Arizona State rises up, controls the line of scrimmage. Just a tremendous job up front by C.J. Fight, the guy we talked about in the open, an impact player, getting control up front inside and getting some help from his teammates, but they controlled that 3rd down line of scrimmage completely.
So Kansas will punt things away. Melquan Stovall standing at his own 15. From his own 7. Across the 25 to the 30, down the sideline. Good return and forced out of bounds at the 43. Stovall. Now all of a sudden, if you're Arizona State, you're thinking, okay, let's try to get some points on the board.
That's a huge return, shrinks the field for Arizona State. And Stovall, I think the Kansas players kind of relaxed a little bit because that ball was inside the 10, but Stovall brought it out anyway and gets a great return. So you are set up nicely if you're Arizona State. You've got timeouts, too.
Remember that punt return TCU got on Kansas just last week. 36-yard return. The punt was 58 yards.
Minute 18.
And a timeout. Levitt over the middle to Scadaboo.
Well, they have time, but they can't waste too much of it because they only have one timeout to stop the clock.
Levitt will keep it. Runs out of bounds right there at the line to gain.
Smart. Notice how he held the football out to pick up the first down and got out of bounds. That's just a heady, smart play by a redshirt freshman quarterback in his 5th start. He didn't play a lot last year at Michigan State. Didn't get any reps, really. Just a few in garbage time.
Yeah, mop-up job, yeah. Under a minute. Throws and took a hit and a flag in that secondary.
I think they're going to get Kobe Bryant.
Holding. Number 2, defense. 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Remember we talked about the slant route and that eventually there'd be a slant and go. Well, that was it. And Kobe Bryant, watch him here in the slot as he's faced up against Tyson, and he grabs him because that's a little bit of the old shake route or the slant and go, if you will.
So with the penalty, first down from the Kansas 38. Levitt to Brown. He gets out of bounds at the 35.
Managing the clock pretty well. Remember, they have a kicker who can go up to 60 yards or so. He was booming 50-plus yards pregame. They had a block earlier in this quarter, but they have a kicker with a big leg.
Sun Devils to go 5 wide here. Levitt throwing down the seam, incomplete. He was looking at Jordan Tyson, and there's another flag.
Yeah, I think Kobe Bryant, he's getting those hands up around the shoulder pads. You know, receivers have tricks and defensive backs have too. If you're going to hold a guy.
Pass interference. Number 2, defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
You're going to hold a guy and stay in stride with him. You got to get your hands down low and get a hold of him. But when your hands go up to the shoulder pad area, you're going to get flagged for that. But he wasn't in bad shape. Once you catch up, you know, keep your hands down low and find the ball. But he just panicked a little bit there.
Now 1st and 10 from the 20. Levitt throws. That's Mateer. Shimon Mateer, redshirt junior, the tight end, and they love to look at him in that red zone, and you see why.
Everyone forgets about the tight end. That is the 12th catch of the year for Mateer, and he was forgotten about because it looked like he was in blocking and then just came across the field. Easy catch and run.
Karsten Kiefer with the extra point. And how about the Sun Devils? 58 yards, 4 plays, and they do it in just 52 seconds.
Now, Mateer is right on the line of scrimmage. Watch how he gets lost. You know, you've got your defense bringing a little pressure, and initially he looks like he's blocking, and he realizes, hey, I'm free. And all of a sudden you look up, you go, wow, Barry Hill maybe had eyes on him, then starts looking at the quarterback, and Mateer is all by himself. Tight ends get forgotten about an awful lot in these situations, particularly when they show blocking initially.
Sam Levitt now with a couple of touchdown passes in this game, 102 yards through the air. That ties his career high. 2 TD passes in a game.
He sure doesn't play quarterback like he's a redshirt freshman.
Parker Lewis. Wow, good job of squibbing that one. 2 Kansas players basically ran into each other trying to field it, and now we got a whole scuffle for the football.
The ball was recovered by Kansas. First down.
Coach Leipold, all the disdain on his face. Look at this. Oh, boy.
Yeah, 2 guys not accustomed to fielding kicks. No communication. Kansas lucky that that ball didn't wind up as part of the, what is it, the maroon monsoon tonight?
That's what they're calling it, a maroon monsoon. Everyone wear your maroon. You see Downing and his teammate there talking about it. Kansas will go into the locker room.
You know,
they'll get the football to begin the second half.
I'm just hoping that Kevin Connors and company will check on Paul Feinbaum and the good folks in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, after that Vandy upset.
Jalen Daniels, 10 of 14 for 150 yards. He's thrown a touchdown or run for 1. And Sam Levitt, he's thrown for 102 yards. He's got 2 TDs passes. And we're all tied up at 14. Here's my man Kevin Connors, Trevor Maddich, Twisted Tea halftime report. Welcome back. ESPN College Football Prime Time. It is presented by Geico. We start the second half. We're all tied up at 14 here in Tempe. Kansas taking on Arizona State for the very first time. As we take a look at tonight's game track, it is brought to you by Outback Steakhouse. And talk about the tail of the tape for the quarterbacks here in the first half. I mean, pretty even, but for Kansas, you got to be saying, welcome back, Jalen Daniels.
Jalen Daniels is back. I mean, we haven't seen a first half like this from him all season, and he was the guy who was showing you that swagger, throwing the ball outside the numbers with great authority and confidence, and running for a touchdown. I think that got him going. And then on the other side, man, Levitt has been as advertised and maybe a little bit better because he's played also with a lot of confidence, has 2 touchdowns, and has run the ball really, really well.
Brian Custer, Rod Gilmore. We got Lauren Sisler with us as well as we begin here the second half.
Good call on losing the jackets, man. It's still 103 degrees.
Man, this heat here. Well, we talked about Jalen Daniels and what a first half he had, throwing for 150. Also had a touchdown. He ran for 1 from 22 yards out. It was their leading rusher as well with 24 yards on the ground. So here's 1st and 10 from the 25. Daniels flush, throws as he's hit, and that's incomplete. That was Keyshawn Elliott who applied the pressure. We talked about running the football, Rod. You look at the guy we talked about at the top, Devin Neal. He's only got 7 carries here for 16 yards. You know, he came in with 407 first half rushing yards on the season, 2nd in the nation.
Yeah, I think that's because of the way that Daniels has played. And they started using him more and less of Neal, but I think that will change. We're going to see more of Neal, I think, this second half.
This is 2nd down. This is Highshaw, who gets the carry, breaks the tackle, got a 1st down and more.
Wow, that is 2 tackles that he broke. He ran through both those tackles completely. And if you're Arizona State defensively, you're going, wait, we got to get in front of the guy and not try arm tackles. But you see him just blast right through any would-be tackler on him that time. I mean, that guy, he's not tiny, 220 plus pounds, runs hard. All this shifting and motion is designed to mess with the defense.
Daniels throwing, looking at Grimm, and that one's incomplete. Go down to the field. Here's Lauren Sisler.
Hey guys, talking to Coach Leipold, he said, look, we've got to get our momentum back. That's going to be the key in this half. And he said, look, there's been some mistakes. They got to settle Kobe down. He specifically said they want to work with him, getting him to settle down a little bit on defense. Some of those penalties were costly for them. But overall, he likes the momentum. He says we just got to stay within ourselves, continue playing, keep the momentum up, and open up the passing game. They want to see more of that going in that direction here in the second half.
2nd and long. There's Neal. Gets the carry.
So because a couple things. One, opening up the passing attack. Kansas has not gotten production, enough of it, from their wide receivers. And that's clear. You know, that's why they were using the running backs in the first half in the passing attack. And then on defense for them, we'll get to that when they're out there. But 2 corners, the elite corners for Kansas, they've struggled tonight. But on this 3rd down now, you figure who's the guy that is most likely to be effective for you?
I say that guy right there, Luke Grimm.
Yep. I knew you'd slam that one home.
In the slot. He's looking at him. Bam, right over the middle.
Yep.
Johnny on the spot, right at midfield.
You know that he's their 3rd down guy. I know he's their 3rd down guy. Doesn't Arizona State know?
Not on that play.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, you should be bracketing that guy on 3rd down because you know he is the guy that they want. I mean, that is as strong a tendency as you will ever pick up from the numbers as you prep for games.
Shamari Simmons, who's gotten the assignment of following Grimm. Daniel rolling, throwing, on the move, and that's complete to Quentin Skinner.
Wow. Yeah, he's got it going. He's feeling it. He is rolling to his left. He squares his shoulders, textbook, and makes a perfect throw. This is not easy, but he squares his shoulders to the line of scrimmage, which is what you need to do to be able to throw accurately like that. And he's on target. He is feeling it tonight. This is the guy that we saw in 2022 and the guy we saw in 2023 before he hurt his back.
Thrown for 174. 1st and 10 from the 33 of Arizona State. She steps up in the pocket. He's got a guy. It's Grimm. And he brings it down at the 13. Keith Abney knocked him out of bounds, but another 21-yard chunk play by the Jayhawks.
Well, and remember, Grimm is the guy. He is always the guy. He has twice as many catches as any other receiver in the Kansas offense. And how he gets loose like that, how he gets ignored, how he's not a priority for the Arizona State defense is really a surprise.
Kansas now with their first red zone trip here of the night. Keep in mind that Jayhawks have scored points in 18 red zone trips this season. 14 TDs, 4 field goals.
Yeah, their touchdown percentage is not great. You don't want to keep kicking field goals down there. You really want to be offensively kind of north of 70% in the red zone, you know, in terms of touchdown percentage, and they're not there yet.
It's Justin Watley who limps off. He's the junior out of Cleveland. He transferred in from Cincinnati.
They are at 53% touchdown percentage in the red zone.
First and 10 for the Jayhawks from the 12.
They do an awful lot of pick routes, rub routes if they think you're playing man coverage.
Fake it to Neal. Over the middle. Incomplete.
That should have been picked. That should have been a pick going the other way. And again, when Daniels has trouble, it's throwing over the middle. Sometimes he doesn't see the underneath coverage. And in this case, you see the linebacker, Elliott, stepping right underneath for that, what should have been a pick. Stepped underneath there to try and pick that one up.
Yeah, he's looking at the tight end, Tavita Noah. Neal gets the carry. Brought down at the 9. Jordan Crook makes the stop. That's a 3-yard pickup for the Jayhawks. Another 3rd down coming for Kansas, who have converted 5 of 8 so far tonight.
Yeah, Arizona State defensively, how do you play it down here? If you play man coverage across the board, you're going to get pick routes and rub routes. You can play man coverage on the outside and zone inside, and that would prevent that from happening.
10th play of the drive coming.
Simulated pressure.
Sun Devils show it, and they drop out. Daniels, plenty of time, to the end zone, touchdown! Skinner! Oh no, incomplete, he dropped it.
He caught it and then dropped it, and now there's a flag.
He's saying it was targeting.
Skinner is a big target down there at 6'5". Great speed. Looks like they caught Arizona State playing a little bit of zone inside, and he found his way to the back of it and was wide open.
So they're going to say incomplete, but targeting is the call. As Keith Boydman's mic went out.
And remember, there are 2 rules for targeting. He didn't specify which one. There is the defenseless player, and then also the crown of the helmet, leading with the crown of the helmet.
And so they're looking at, let's see, 44 was Keyshawn Elliott.
Yeah, Now, for there to be targeting, you have to complete every element of it. The forcible contact has to be to the head and neck area. Incidental contact to the head and neck area does not constitute targeting. So is the hit to the head and neck, or is the real force to the chest? That's what replay is looking at.
Absolutely. And, you know, another element of the target is, did he lead with the crown of his helmet?
That's for the other rule, yeah. So defenseless is one targeting, and then leading with the crown. And they could look at both of those, but that doesn't look to me to be like leading with the crown. Well, it could be. Couldn't tell from that angle, but possibly they would be going through both those rules then if they think they're both applicable.
And the other thing they're looking at is whether or not he made the catch. But you got to complete the catch.
You got to complete the process. You have to come back and make contact with the ground and hang on to the ball. And you saw Kenny Dillingham saying, no, he got him with the shoulder with the forcible contact.
Kevin Boykman will take another look at it. Keep in mind, they're also taking a look at this in Dallas at the Big 12 headquarters here, and they're replaying.
There is the.
Let me know if you got signal.
Yeah, the ruling in the field is.
We talked to the replay officials before the game, and they said, yeah, when headquarters is looking at replays with them, it's a collaborative process.
With the guys here on the field.
Yeah. That they're all working together. It's not like headquarters says, hey, we're looking at it and we'll make the call.
After further review, the ruling of an incomplete pass stands. After further review, there is a personal foul for targeting number 44 of the defense. Penalty is half the distance to the goal line. Number 44 is disqualified.
So that's the night for Keyshawn Elliott.
Yeah, so they determined that the forcible contact was to the head and neck area.
And keep in mind, this is important for Arizona State because Elliott is the green dot guy on the field. That's the guy who their defensive coordinator communicates with through his helmet. So with him getting kicked out of the game, they will have a new person who will be doing the communication back and forth with their defensive coordinator. And it's 1st and goal now for Kansas. From the 4. Daniels rolls, throws, incomplete. Cyrus Fiaseu is the guy who applied that pressure.
Too much heat. Too much heat on him. Fiaseu was in the backfield and disrupted everything because the plan was to get the ball to Grimm, but too much pressure by Fiaseu on Daniels. He was not the least bit fooled. He actually did a good job of affecting Grimm as well.
11th play of this drive. This is the 3rd drive that Kansas has had 10 plays or more. Neal brought down at the 3. 3rd and goal coming. Both of these teams looking for their first Big 12 victory this season. Kansas is trying to put an end to a 4-game losing streak.
They're getting a substitution late, and down here, the biggest threat to me is Jalen Daniels' legs. And now the defense can substitute.
You're going to have to call timeout if you're Kansas.
Yeah, they're going to lose 5 yards if they don't.
Because if you're going to substitute, you got to give the defense time.
That's on Kansas.
That's on Kansas.
They got their guys in late, and so by rule, Arizona State had time, and that triggered everything. The clock was going to run out, and Kansas was going to go back 5 yards. And in a game like this, that's a timeout you might want to have in the 4th quarter.
Which has not been kind to Kansas this season. Here's the play clock, and look, Basically, with 15, you can see him making some late substitutions, so that allows Arizona State to bring in their guy.
And you see their guys
taking their time.
Take their time.
Hey,
that is smart. They
Absolutely.
were aware of the clock. I'm still feeling Jalen Daniels down here, and if you're Arizona State, you want to make sure you have a quick enough, fast enough guy to deal with him if he is out on the edge.
3rd and goal, 2 tight ends. Daniels looking, throwing to the end zone, incomplete. He was looking at Quentin Skinner again, and he had him.
Remember we talked about the rub routes, the pick routes down here? There was a pick route to get Skinner free out there, and the timing was just off. The throw was a bit off. But they got just enough rub, as you'll see. Watch, as you see that, I believe that is
Jared Casey.
Casey who comes in and creates the rub, the disruption, so that Skinner is wide open. That is a play you see an awful lot down there in that area by Kansas.
Here's Allen from 21 yards out. And he boots it through. And the Jayhawks with a 3-point lead. "13 plays, 73 yards, 5 minutes is what the Jayhawks took off the clock, and I think Jalen Daniels realized he had 6. Had he put it on him, they've got a 3-point lead here in the 3rd. This is the Big 12 Conference on ESPN. 17-14 is our score. Kansas on top of Arizona State. Jayhawks just went 13 plays, 73 yards. They did it in 5 minutes to take the lead, which for Kansas hasn't been a good thing for them when it comes to taking the lead in the second half.
You're saying the good news for Kansas is
You're
they're
up.
ahead. The bad news is you're up.
Because in their 4 straight losses, 3 of those 4, they've lost the lead in the 4th quarter.
Can you just feel Kansas fans going, oh no, particularly with this guy throwing the ball, Levitt, he has really been on with his deep throw, but really his legs have really hurt Kansas. But his presence of mind tonight, he's shown you that he is more mature than you would expect from a redshirt freshman.
Here's Scadaboo.
He is a cutback runner, a downhill or straight ahead runner. And when he's coming at you, you want to make sure, you hope his shoulders aren't facing you, because if his shoulders are facing you, he's intent on running you over. You have to be prepared for that collision, because he is not going to try and fake you out.
Here's Scadaboo again. Marvin Grant makes the stop. Let's go down to the field and Lauren.
Rod, you talk about Scadaboo running you over. Well, the focus was on getting him faster and in better shape, with the message being clear to him in the offseason. If you want to play on Sundays, you better pick it up, buddy. Scadaboo committed to losing weight, working out, learning to trust the coaching staff to manage his workload. He dropped down about 8% body fat, and he's just a workhorse now, and he trusts the team to handle his reps, buying into the program fully. He gets it now.
3rd and 2. Arizona State 0-4 on 3rd down. Not anymore, though. There's Scadaboo, and he's got a 1st down and a whole lot more.
Oh, man, the double team inside. Faltanu was the center, really involved with it. Kyle Scott also. I mean, those holes are easy when you get your 2 big guys inside executing a perfect double team.
Scadaboo now with 82 yards rushing. He'll throw it to the outside, and that's Tyson. He's wrestled out of bounds.
That's another.
Bryant. Oh, Bryant a little extra, and he gets flagged for it.
You know, the 2 outstanding corners for Kansas have had a rough night. You know, Mello Dotson had the one, strip, the fumble strip recovery. That was his great play. But he's been targeted, and he's given up some throws. And on the other side, Bryant, that's his 3rd penalty.
After the play was over, personal foul, late hit, number 2, defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
He's allowed the penalties to get in his head and take him out of the usually, really strong game that he plays. He's been flagged for 2 pass interference, and then this is just frustration. It wasn't throwing him out of bounds. It was the push at the end. I mean, this is reasonable here. I don't know if I'm out of bounds. I'm swinging him inbounds. That's fine. But the push at the end, that's unnecessary.
1st and 10 now for Arizona State. From the Kansas 37. Levitt throwing incomplete. He was looking at Tyson.
Yeah, Dotson read that perfectly. Mello Dotson in the corner. He knew that dig route was coming, and he got right in the hip pocket of Tyson. He's right on it.
In case you're wondering, Dotson and Bryant lead the nation in career interceptions, passes defended, and defensive touchdowns by any quarterback duo in the country. Here's Brown. Puts his head down. He's got a 1st down and more.
Did you see him finish that run? He's been hanging around Scadaboo a bit. I mean, he's only 5'9" and 185 pounds, but just watch the finish. Lower the shoulder, and bam, takes on Burrows, the safety.
Brown again. He's in the red zone.
He is a threat to go all the way when he touches the football.
How about this?
Oh,
report it's now under 100.
Wow. To be honest with you, I didn't really notice a difference between 98 and 101.
It's a cool 98.
It's a cool 98.
You know, because it's the dry heat here in Arizona.
How about that? The sun goes down and it's 98 degrees.
2nd and 5. Levitt throwing over the middle. Tipped in the air. And was it intercepted? Yes! It's Devin Dye, the transfer out of Utah State. Of course, his father, Jermaine Dye, had that 14-year career
by the
in
defense
Major League Baseball.
Proud dad right now.
First career interception.
Timeout.
And when you throw the ball over the middle and it's high, if that's not a clean catch, you get just that. You get tips, you get tip through, and guess what? I got a pick. I got my first pick. Kansas in business.
Well, talk about beating yourselves. That interception by Arizona State. You know, first 4 games of the season for Arizona State, 2 turnovers, the fewest in the Big 12. Well, tonight they already have 2 turnovers. This one, the tip and the pick by Devin Dye.
Skinner's got to make that catch.
Here's Highshaw over that left side.
You know, we saw the Arizona State sideline during the commercial break, and I'm sure, you know, Skinner looked like he was kicking himself for not having made that catch. He's got a great receivers coach on the Arizona State staff, Hines Ward, superstar from his NFL days with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Receiving coach for the Sun Devils. Here's 2nd and 5. Throws, and that's almost intercepted. Miles Rouser, team's leader in tackles.
This was a matchup that Kansas was hoping to get. They got Rouser a safety on one of their receivers, Lachlan, and that time Rouser came up with a big play. Big 3rd down now.
Daniels now just 3 of his last 11 after starting out hot, 10 of 12. Luke Grimm is in the slot, bottom of your screen. Highshaw in motion. Daniels flushed, under pressure, escape, no, sacked. Clayton Smith.
Well, we talked about the fact that Arizona State does not blitz very often, only about 22% of the time. Well, this time they brought Fiaseu, a linebacker, inside, and then that freed up Clayton Smith on the outside as the offensive line tried to count numbers and figure out who's coming. There you see Fiaseu, 30 inside, little twist game, and he and Clayton Smith both come free. And what a great shoestring tackle.
Greaves will punt things away from his own end zone. Stovall standing at his own 40. Calls for the fair catch at midfield. Little over 5 minutes left here in the 3rd. It's Kansas with a 3-point lead. A little bit over 5 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter. It's Kansas with a 3-point lead. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Prime Time. It is presented by Geico. Hines Ward, receivers coach for Arizona State, looking on. Meanwhile, Kansas, how about this? No points off the 2 Arizona State turnovers.
Wow.
Both times they got the ball were 3 and outs by the Kansas offense. Here's Scatterbo, who rumbles for a 1st down.
And right now, that combination of the double team with Kyle Scott and Leif Faltanu, the center, is really paying off. They are really opening up big holes inside for Scatterbo.
He's knocking on the door of 100 yards. He gets the call again, spins his way to like a 4-yard gain.
You see the way he lowered his shoulder and went after the safety, Burrows? He is a guy that, I mean, he looks for the contact. He does not care. He does not care about his body or your body. Like I said earlier, he initiates all the car crashes that happen out there. Talk about a guy with a chip on his shoulder who started out ignored by everyone when he came out of high school except for Sacramento State. He's turned himself into an NFL prospect, a workaholic, a guy who's willing to carry it 30, 35 times a game. They're trying to dial it back. He's only had, I think, 13 carries tonight.
Here's Stovall. That's a 1st down.
Well, that is a modern twist on the old option play. Your zone read is the dive. Your quarterback is the second guy. Instead of a pitch, it is a throw to the outside. Your modern triple option. A little different than the way they did it back at Oklahoma back in the day, in Texas.
From the 20. They'll flip it to Jake Smith. Oh, and that goes nowhere. They lost a good 12, thanks to Dean Miller.
Well, we've talked about how fast he is, that he's not the biggest defensive end, you know, but at 235 pounds, but he is fast, quick, and he stayed home. Standing up right here on the outside, playing that outside linebacker spot, he reads it clearly. Nope, not buying the fake.
Lost 11.
Wow.
From the 32 of Kansas. Call it 2nd and 21. Scatterboo. Over that left side, you know, we talked about the importance of capitalizing off those turnovers. And here's why that was important for Kansas, because for the Jayhawks, you know, they need to have a lead after 3 quarters. Under Lance Leipold, Kansas 1-18 when his team trails after 3.
Wow. Not good.
So they need this lead going into that 4th quarter. Here's Levitt under pressure. Steps up, avoids it. He's got a lot of room to run. Flag. And he gets out of bounds inside the 10.
2 flags. This is going to come back.
One of the guys blocking downfield.
There were fouls by both teams. Holding on the defense, personal foul, illegal blindside block. Number 5 on the offense. The fouls will offset. Replay the down.
So this is really tough for Arizona State, because that blindside block came after the hold, and it came after your quarterback had picked up all that yardage. So you just gave Kansas a break there.
Really good point. So now you're back at 3rd and 18. Where you would have been inside the 10. 1st and goal.
Let's see if Kansas plays man coverage on the outside. They've been doing that on 3rd down. Might back off of it here with so far to go for the 1st down. Yep, they're backing out.
From the Jayhawk 29. Levitt looks, throws. That's complete to Tyson. And he is right at the line of game.
Well, no pressure, clean pocket. Plenty of time for Tyson to run that deep dig, that deep route inside over the middle. Big window, big throw, big catch.
First down from the 11. Scatterboo inside the 10 now.
Dylan Woodkey got into the backfield that time and sort of disrupted things. So that might have gone for a bit more. But this is definitely the Cam Scatterboo time of game and area on the field.
Coming on a minute. 2 tight ends here for the Sun Devils. Scatterboo.
Oh my
puts
goodness.
his head down, and he's inside the 5 now.
Oh my goodness, did you see him move that pile? Oh, we talked about him really looking for contact, and he just drove someone back 3 or 4 yards. He's gonna hit him right in the chest. That's Berryhill, the linebacker who's playing for Wheeler, and he just got a mouthful. Man, wow, what a big hit.
5th career 100-yard game for Scatterboo. He's got it again, and he's upended at the 2.
Pretty good business decision there. Going down low, really low, Burrows did. He's had enough of the contact straight on. He's showing up now. That's a 1st down? Yeah, I think he picked it up.
That's going to be the last play of the quarter.
previous
So
play
we've
is under
played
further review.
3 here in Tempe, and the Jayhawks with a 3-point lead, but it's the Sun Devils here knocking at the door.
That is the end of the third quarter.
All right, y'all ready? Coach, you guys are down 3 heading into the fourth quarter. How important will this drive and finishing this thing off be for you?
It's first and goal from the 1. We got to find a way to score. I mean, we got to find a way to score.
What will be important for this fourth quarter to get a win?
Play every play as hard as you can possibly play it.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
After further review, the ruling in the field of a first down stands.
Coach, you guys are down 3 heading into the fourth quarter. How important will this drive and finishing this thing off be for you?
It's first and goal from the 1. We got to find a way to score. I mean, we got to find a way to score.
What will be important for this fourth quarter to get a win?
Play every play as hard as you can possibly play it.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Kansas at 1-4. They've lost 4 straight. 0-2 in the conference. Arizona State 3-1. They're 0-1 in the conference. Kansas have led in the fourth quarter in 3 of those 4 losses. They're 0-2 on the road this season, and they've lost by a total of 10 points. First and goal.
Wild scat.
Scatterboo. Touchdown, Sun Devils.
Well, they call it the wild scat.
.111 yards rushing, and now a touchdown run for Cam Scatterboo.
Yeah, you've heard of wildcat. Well, they call it the wild scat because of Scatterboo.
Karsten Kiefer with the extra point, and Arizona State back on top, 21-17.
We go back to the touchdown. You have to keep the ball inside, but the safety Marvin Grant takes on this block with his right shoulder, his outside shoulder, and that brought him inside, and so he could not be in a position to force Scatterboo back inside. He's got a big tight end working on him. I feel you, but your job is to force this back inside, and he can't, and it's an easy cakewalk into the end zone.
First lead for Arizona State since the first quarter when they were up 7-0.
So much at stake, as you mentioned, in this ball game, and Scatterboo, 111 yards, 6.2 average. Arizona State surprisingly 3-1 and in position to make a run at making the postseason. And Kansas tonight fighting for its postseason life. They cannot lose this game and realistically expect to get to the postseason.
Jayhawks have now been outscored 52-20 in the fourth quarter of this season. As the 8th worst in the country. Let's see what Jalen Daniels and company can do here. Well, tomorrow we got both game 4s. The best of 5 WNBA playoff semifinals. You got Liberty and the AC squaring off at 3 Eastern on ABC. Then on ESPN, you get the Lynx and the Sun. Of course, New York, Minnesota are up 2-1, looking to move on to the finals. WNBA Countdown tips off their coverage at 2:30 Eastern on ABC.
Kansas has not been able to get Devin Neal really loose in this ball game. 10 carries, 27 yards.
This is Daniels. He has been loose in this game.
This is his best game of the season. Even though he's had a tough little streak throwing the ball lately, he missed 8 of his 11 last throws or something like that. But he started on fire. He's been running the ball well. They're going to need him to come back and make some throws in this fourth quarter.
He's thrown for nearly 200. Grimm in motion. And Daniels throws over the middle to Jared Casey. That's the tight end.
That is a man who will probably never have to buy another meal out on the town when he's back in Kansas. Had the huge touchdown catch, 2-point catch against Texas when he was a freshman for the big upset over the Longhorns.
You talk about it. We're going to show it to you.
Oh, we got it like that? We're that good, huh?
Well, it was like 3 years ago. Was it November? Kansas and Texas. It was Texas, Casey Thompson.
That was a touchdown. Then they come back for the 2-point conversion, and that was the upset.
Guys, I remember that football game, being on the sidelines, the chaos after the game. It was at Texas, and I was trying to get a post-game interview, and they didn't even know what to do with it. They weren't used to winning, so they weren't used to post-game interviews, and so they had to get used to it then.
Pretty wild.
That's Clayton Smith there getting helped off.
And that's a huge loss. He has been having a tremendous game, putting a lot of pressure on Jalen Daniels, the quarterback.
Kansas 50% when converting third downs. 5 of 10. This is 3rd and 1. They go to the power game right up the middle. Devin Neal has got a first down. They'll move the sticks.
Yeah, Arizona State's done a nice job on Neal most of the night, but a lot of those runs when he had the ball were runs to the edge where they forced him back in and corralled him. But they've got to find a way to get him back. They threw the ball to him in the first quarter. We've not seen much of that from Kansas since then. And now they have him in the slot of that triple wide receiver set.
11 carries, 32 yards for Neal. Daniels throws to the outside, looking for Skinner. "13 minutes left in this game." Arizona State has won 2 straight at home here. 3 straight would be their longest streak at any point within a season since they won 4 straight home games 3 years ago. Of course, this is their first Big 12 game here at home. Pressure. Daniels wrapped up.
Arizona State came with the blitz, both inside linebackers on a cross. a crisscross going into the line of scrimmage. And remember, this is not a team that blitzes an awful lot. Give a lot of credit to Brian Ward, the defensive coordinator, for switching things up. Watch the two inside linebackers. Crisscross on this blitz, and they hit home. Now that brings up a 3rd down and long.
Fiaseu making that tackle. He's made some plays here tonight. 3rd and long. Pressure, throwing on the back foot, incomplete, and a flag. Looked like it was Keith Abney with Lawrence Arnold.
Pass interference. Number 1, defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic 1st down.
Yeah, that's too bad for Arizona State because they have switched up what they're doing by bringing pressure. Like I said, not a pressure team, and they saved some blitzes for the 4th quarter that Kansas hadn't seen. They couldn't block them. And just watch the man-to-man defense up top. You're in great position, just find the ball. No need to reach. And once you reach and grab in a situation like that, you're in trouble.
1st down from the 49. 2 tight ends. Daniels throws. That's complete. Arnold.
Well, this is a real change in tactics for Arizona State. They have run some form of blitz pressure 3 straight plays and played man coverage on the backside of it. That is not normally who they are, but they have discovered that they can get pressure on Daniels, and it's the best way to keep him from running.
From the pistol. End around to Grimm. Grimm's got a 1st down. Xavier Olford knocks him out of bounds at the 31.
And Grimm is Mr. Clutch for them on 3rd down in passing, and the guy in trickeration. All that misdirection came in handy there and forced Arizona State to play catch up and barely get a tackle on Grimm.
From the 31 of Arizona State. Neal to the house. Touchdown, Kansas.
Well, we've been waiting for Devin Neal to enter the fray.
What do they say? He may not come when you want him, but he's always on time.
Always on time. Arizona State had kept him in check most of the game. But on this play, huge hole, great little move to get free. But that blocking, Jared Casey, 47, led Neal into the 2nd level, and it was all over.
31-yard touchdown run, longest of the night for Kansas. And they retake the lead by 3. You talk about career touchdown leaders. Devin Neal right behind June Hindley. 2nd all time, thanks to this 31-yard jaunt. Rock Chalk Jayhawk, they're up 3.
Kansas ahead by reason of this Devin Neal touchdown run. I want you to watch the counter here and how Kansas gets a numbers advantage. They have more blockers than defenders on this. They pull the right guard, Baines, the left guard Ford, and the tight end, Casey. And look at the whole, so many blockers that Neal has his personal escort into the secondary with Jared Casey. And that is why you run a counter with 3 of them instead of 2.
Let's get a studio update. It's Kevin Connors. Well, we've had 2 lead changes here in the last 4 minutes. Levitt dropped. Xavier Guillory had it, dropped it.
That is at least the second, maybe third drop of the game from Arizona State receivers. You think the crowd is a little tired? The heat's taking a little toll on them?
I just think they're nervous.
I think Kansas fans are nervous too.
Oh, look at Levitt. Devin Dye trips him up. But the quarterback scampers for a first down and more, brought down at the 40.
Yeah, the linebacker, Berryhill, came in and he wasn't under control. And it was easy for Levitt to just give him a little move and be gone. But
you want some fries to that shake? Gave it to him.
Yeah, he did.
I think it's Devin Dye is the injured person down, too. He's getting helped off. Let's go down to the field and Lauren.
Hey, talking about Sam's recruitment story, his first offer came from Coach Dillingham when he was at FSU, but they didn't really recruit him real hard because of distance. Later, he was watching clips from Michigan State, loved the moxie, loved the work ethic, so they made the call, got the visit in. And let me tell you, that dude literally sat in Marcus Arroyo's office for 5 hours, y'all. 5-hour meeting. It was crazy. That dude loves football.
As Levitt had it, and he is tripped up behind the line of scrimmage by O.J. Burrows. You're talking about Marcus Arroyo. He is the offensive coordinator.
Good one, too.
For Arizona State.
Yeah.
And he even said that. He said, look, I knew this guy. We went through plays, cut-ups, everything, and he just kept going and going and going. So even his father, who's a football coach, fell asleep during the meeting.
Yeah, when you go on those recruiting trips, I mean, you know, you get some familiarity with what they do system-wise, but, like, you're meeting people, you're having meals, you're having a good time. This guy's like, no, I want to watch film. I want to see everything in your offense. I want to talk ball.
Looks like that's Marvin Grant there, doing a little bit of cramping there on the sideline.
Yeah, and guys, just to add on that, Dillingham knew that he was the guy almost right away. So they actually canceled the visits from 2 other quarterbacks that were coming in. He said, we're all in, we want you. And yeah, well, the rest is history.
Of course, Dillingham was the youngest coach at a Power 5 school last year when he got hired. Here at Arizona State, his alma mater, where he's 32 years old. Here's Scattaboo. That's a first down and more.
You know, I talk about his power and breaking tackles, but you can see he can change directions nicely, too. Put his foot in the ground and went upfield. It's Kobe Bryant that's down now.
It
has that look, doesn't it?
Well, that's a big loss there for Kansas. As they tend to the senior. Looks like Kansas, about 3 DBs have been hurt here the last few plays. Scattaboo runs for a first down. We'll take a break as they tend to Kobe Bryant.
ESPN College Football Primetime is presented by Geico. Get more with Geico.
Sparky leading the charge here in Tempe. Kobe Bryant, the everything corner for Kansas, getting helped off the field. Take a look at his right leg here.
Yeah. Hard to tell. Wasn't by contact or anything. Hope it's not anything serious.
Here's Scattaboo.
You know, you have to believe that these players, particularly defensive linemen, are really tired now.
See Scattaboo saying, I hope you're okay.
Yeah. But, you know, it's been a long, hot night for these players. And big defensive linemen, they get the worst of it.
And they continue to pound the rock with Scattaboo. 8 minutes, 36 seconds here left.
And part of the thinking with that is you don't want the defense to be able to substitute defensive linemen. You want to keep wearing them out with the running game. You know they're tired. You know they're wearing out. You want to keep pounding them.
They continue to convert third downs. Remember, Arizona State started this game 0 of 4 on third down. They have now gone 4 for 4 on third down. Scattaboo now with nearly 140 yards rushing.
We just saw Kansas change out some of their defensive linemen. That's what we're talking about. Guys were worn out and tired, and they just got 2 new defensive linemen in the game.
Raleek Brown checks into the game. Levitt back to Brown. And he's forced out of bounds at the 35 by Mello Dotson.
Now, Kansas is also a team that doesn't live and die by the blitz. But given the situation, it wouldn't surprise me to see them dial up some pressure here and try to create a third down and long instead of waiting to see what happens on a third down. This would be the time to try to get a negative play and push Arizona State back a little bit. Yeah, they're showing it.
Yeah, they're showing it.
Yep.
They're coming.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, run blitz there.
Yep. Exactly.
Miller.
Yep. Thinking right along with us. That gives you the ability to have a third and long situation, and you can see how you want to attack it defensively.
Four of 8 on third down. They've converted their last 4. Here's Levitt throwing. He's got a man. He's got a touchdown. Jordan Tyson. And we got a flag.
The result of the play is a touchdown. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 0 in the offense. 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
You can see Coach Dillingham talking to Jordan Tyson right there. Great play, but
Yep.
not when it's this close. Carson Kiefer. Extra point good. We've had 3 lead changes here in the last 8 minutes.
Kudos to Arizona State for getting that mismatch. They got Tyson on a safety, and I guarantee you Levitt saw that right off the bat. And when he saw it right off the bat, he said, I'm not wasting any time. I am going to this mismatch because Tyson beats the safety, and Arizona State is back on top.
It's 28-24 here. How about a game by Sam Levitt? I mean, he's got 154 yards through the air. He's thrown to 10 different receivers, 3 touchdown passes, which is a career high for him, and all 3 to different receivers. From his own 15 and upended at the 30 is where Kansas will start.
And Kansas has been in this position before, but it's been a wild, wild Saturday. And it's always the Saturdays when you don't expect much to happen. And we've had 2 top 10 teams, 3 top 10 teams go down.
These rankings brought to you by AT&T.
Can't believe Vandy knocked off Alabama. Wow.
Kansas has won 8 straight games when they've had no turnovers. They've had no turnovers tonight. Here's Highshaw. And if you're the Jayhawks, this is what you want. You want to stop the bleeding. You've lost 4 straight. The fourth quarter has been an issue for you, but here you are. You're down 4, but you've got the football. You got 2 timeouts, and you got plenty of time.
Oh, we talked to the coaching staff about the fourth quarter issues, and they said, look, it's just been a lack of focus, you know, blown assignments and whatnot. And we asked them, well, is it conditioning? Don't think so, but I don't think they would tell us it's conditioning. But these conditions are really difficult tonight.
Second down, and Neal ran into a wall.
Yeah, he did. But if you're ever going to have an issue in the fourth quarter with fatigue and the like, tonight is the night. With us starting a kickoff at 105 degrees, we're still in the 90s now, and there's been a lot of hitting going on.
3rd and 2.
Yep.
From your own 39.
Yep, gotta have it.
They've completed and converted 6 of 11. Grimm in the slot at the top of your screen. Blitz coming, and flags fly.
A little antsy on the blitz.
False start. Number 54, offense.
Oh, wow.
5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
That's Michael Ford Jr., the left guard.
Transfer from Buffalo. I think he saw the movement, he saw the blitz coming, and reacted. Here he is, the left guard. See, he sees the blitz coming, and he reacted.
So instead of 3rd and 2, 3rd and 7. They've completed and converted 6 of 11 on 3rd down.
Grimm has got to be.
And
wow.
someone, boy.
Wow.
You want to talk about, and another hit. So
wow.
You got 2 flags here.
Are you kidding me?
Miles Rouser is the guy who jumped offside. Look at Coach Leipold.
He's got every right to be upset, but Clayton Smith, I mean, that was really a cheap shot. That's an absolute cheap shot.
I mean, he laid out Jalen Daniels. So you got offsides and a personal foul coming.
And they may be looking at that for targeting.
There are 2 fouls in the play, both in the defense. Offside, number 4 in the defense, 5-yard penalty. After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 10 on the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Yeah, and it's a play like that that could give Kansas the spark and life it needs here to continue this drive. It is a 15-yarder.
You can see Coach Leipold, you read his lips, he was saying, kick him out. He did not like that shot his quarterback took.
Well, but you know, the replay officials can call targeting on their own. It doesn't have to be called on the field. They can call it from the replay booth if they believe it was targeting, and Leipold certainly believed it was.
He's now got a 1st and
Previous
10
play is under further review.
from the Arizona State 46. Now they'll take a look at it, as you point out,
for possible targeting.
for possible targeting.
So, again, there are two targeting rules. One is the defenseless player with forcible contact to the head or neck area with an indicator, like launching yourself into him. The other rule is leading with the crown of the helmet. And that's all that's required, along with an indicator like launching or lowering your head.
I would say, based off of what you just told me, the head and neck area is what I saw there.
I think so. And he was a defenseless guy. He's a quarterback after he's released the ball. And there was plenty of time to hold up, which is why they flagged him on the field. But this is a booth-initiated targeting call, not from the field.
And there is Clayton Smith, the redshirt junior. Coach Dillingham talking to his defense.
Yeah, I can't tell from the shots that I've seen if there was any contact to the chest or shoulder before the head neck area. From this angle, I think that's why they didn't call it on the field. They felt it was shoulder to the chest.
After further review, there was a foul for targeting on number 10 on the defense. The penalty is 15 yards. It's already being enforced. By rule, number 10 is disqualified from the game.
So again, they say it was a hit on the defensive player, head and neck area. So that means Clayton Smith has been ejected, along with Keyshawn Elliott, who was also ejected for targeting earlier in this game.
That is two of their best players on defense ejected from the game for targeting. Now, this Arizona State defense is certainly a hard-hitting defense. They are very physical, but there is also crossing the line.
4:25 to play. 1st and 10 from the Arizona State 45. They're going to give it to Highshaw. And a little jet sweep action. He's brought down at the 41. Jeff Clark makes the stop.
Arizona State being very aggressive on defense. That might be because that's a little bit easier for the backups to play than to go with any complex defense.
They run the option. Pitches it to Neal. Neal cuts back and brought down at the 40.
Yeah, Arizona State has handled that speed option all night. They've got the speed to chase it down from inside out. It just has not been an effective play. Caleb McCullough is in there for Keyshawn Elliott, who was ejected earlier for targeting. Number 22 showed his speed coming to help stop that play.
Here's another crucial 3rd down. Remember, on our last 3rd down is when the penalties came.
And Grimm is the guy that they have to make sure they're covering if you're Arizona State.
Pressure. Neal breaks through and dives for a 1st down.
He just ran through an arm tackle to pick up that 1st down.
2 timeouts. 2:40 on the clock. Don't forget about the 2-minute timeout.
Well, if you're Kansas, this has to be your game-winning drive. You want to bleed the clock, and you want to get the touchdown. Neal just running through would-be tacklers.
First and 10 from the 35. Daniels looking, throwing over the middle to the end zone. It's Skinner. Quentin Skinner. Second touchdown catch of the game, and Jalen Daniels throws a dime.
He is back. Jalen Daniels has been that guy tonight. That was as well a thrown ball as he's thrown all season long. He stayed in the pocket, and he gave his receiver a chance, and how about the way Skinner laid out to come up with that? All 6'5" of him was required to pull that one in.
And what did the offensive coordinator, Jeff Grimes, tell us? Quentin Skinner needs more touches.
Yeah. Well,
and he had them tonight.
Yeah, we talked about Kansas needing production from their wide receivers. They didn't get it in the first half as much as they needed. It's shown up here in the second half.
6 catches, 130 yards
Ruling
receiving
in the field of a
for
completed
Quentin
pass
Skinner.
for a touchdown is under further review.
As they take another look at the catch, a career high for the senior out of Oklahoma.
Remember, when you leave your feet as a receiver, you have to complete the process of the catch. When you have contact with the ground, you have to hang on to the ball. Any movement doesn't necessarily mean that you lose control. Slight movement doesn't make it incomplete. And it looked to me that he rolled over with possession of the ball.
Here's another look.
The other key is, does he have his hands or arms underneath the ball when he contacts the ground?
I don't know if there's enough there to overturn that.
Yeah, I mean, it looked to me like he had arms underneath the ball. Yeah, the bobble to me, I guess the question is, was he bobbling when he hit the out of bounds line? I mean, he survived the ground with contact, but did he cross the out of bounds line while the ball was bobbled? Well, I tell you though, Jalen Daniels has returned.
Ooh, that one there.
That one gave you some pause?
Yeah, a little bit.
After further review, the ruling in the field stands. Touchdown.
There you go. I don't know if there was enough, as we said.
Exactly what you said earlier. The angles we looked at it, we could not say definitively that that ball hit the ground.
4 lead changes here in the fourth quarter in the last 12 minutes. Back and forth we go. And this is what Big 12 football is all about.
All the time. Always has been.
One of the most exciting conferences in the nation.
What were you telling me earlier today about how often they have close games?
All the time, more than any other conference in the country.
Any other Power 4 conference.
Here's Allen. Extra point. It's good.
Now, if you're Arizona State, no need to panic, right? You got 3 timeouts plus a 2-minute warning. But how about the Kansas team? This is a veteran group. Those seniors, those guys, those two guys are as responsible for the Kansas turnaround the last couple of years as anyone.
We talked about how exciting the Big 12 Conference is. Look at this. 44% of the conference games have been decided by 1 score or less.
Wow.
Highest among power conferences.
3rd overall behind only the MAC and Sun Belt by just a margin.
Just a bit. The last 4 years, that just shows you. Certainly, Brett Yormark has done a great job here leading this conference.
Absolutely. The Big 12 survives and thrives. Pac-12 was in the same position as the Big 12. And Pac-12 is gone, so he's done a tremendous job for the Big 12.
Allen to kick things away. Well, this season, All-State will celebrate every field goal, extra point made by participating universities, making a donation to the university's General Scholarship Fund. Thank you, All-State.
And if you are Arizona State, you've got 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute timeout, and you know that Kansas has lost their top cornerback, Kobe Bryant, and now you have a backup out there playing one side of the field.
Levitt, 13 of 23 for 153. This is Brown. He's close to the line of game, maybe a yard shy. And we get to the 2-minute timeout. And it's Arizona State down 3. From the 35. Daniels looking, throwing over the middle to the end zone. It's Skinner. From the 35. Daniels looking, throwing over the middle to the end zone. It's Skinner. Quentin Skinner. Second touchdown catch of the game, and Jalen Daniels throws a dime.
He is back. Jalen Daniels.
Daniels looking, throwing over the middle to the end zone. It's Skinner. Quentin Skinner. Second touchdown catch of the game, and Jalen Daniels throws a dime. And look at Scatterboo breaks loose. Wow.
Is he something special or what? It's hard to believe this is a guy who nobody wanted out of high school, and he is the focal point of this offense and comes up with a big play here inside of 2 minutes to go.
39-yard jaunt, 176 yards of rushing for Scatterboo. He gets the call again. Brought down at the 24-yard line of Kansas.
23 carries, 179 yards, and it's not the last time he's going to touch the ball. And remember, you now have a freshman playing left corner for Kansas. Jalen Todd, the freshman out of Detroit, Michigan, is in there for Kobe Bryant, who was injured on the last series.
Jayhawks will take their time with their substitutions. Levitt steps up in the pocket. He's got a first down.
He's played a really smart game tonight, making good decisions with the football, making good decisions as to when to take off and run.
1st and 10 from the 14. Levitt again spins, brought down at the 9. Will Kansas hold, or will this be another fourth quarter heartbreaker? To the studio, let's get an update. Here's my guy, Kevin Conner.
Arizona State.
Wow,
What a day.
we got to finish like this here. Coach Leipold, Coach Dillingham.
You have 2 timeouts left for Arizona State, 35 seconds. You can still run anything you want down here without the risk of losing time on the clock. You can handle that okay.
2nd and 6. Scatterboo, Wildcat, right side. He's brought down at the 7.
Good timeout call. Smart of Arizona State, stop that clock, save 30 seconds. You still have a timeout. You can really think about this 3rd down decision, what you want to do. And clearly, you have a couple of considerations. One is you have a field goal in your back pocket.
Keep in mind, one's already been blocked.
Yes.
By Kansas in the first half.
Yes, but you have a field goal in your back pocket. So now it's about how do you best get the ball in the end zone to win the game. And that you want your 3rd down play here. This is your play to win the game. Because I don't believe on a 4th down here that they would go for it and not kick the field goal.
Arizona State has run for 305 yards rushing, most allowed by Kansas this season. 3rd and 3.
Kansas has to think about the quarterback run game down here. Sam Levitt has been a problem on the edge.
Levitt will keep it. Levitt dives. And it should be enough for a first down.
Well, Arizona State has to get on the ball. Because once it's spotted, they will run the clock.
And Coach Leipold's going to call a timeout.
Timeout, Kansas, their 2nd of the half.
Kansas fans have been in this position all the month of September.
Yes.
A blown lead in the 4th quarter.
Look at these fourth quarter losses here at Illinois, UNLV. We did the West Virginia game. And then in TCU, it was that 3rd quarter.
Yeah, yeah, this is really something. The best they can hope for right now, if you're Kansas, is some sort of a turnover or a field goal that you keep them out of the end zone and you get to overtime. And again, Arizona State still has a timeout, so they can continue to run the ball here if they want.
1st and goal from the Kansas 3. Levitt throwing to the end zone, looking for Tyson. He's got him. He's got him. Two touchdown catches, 6 catches, 76 yards receiving.
Marcus Arroyo, the offensive coordinator, has done a great job of getting that matchup of his best receiver on a safety. He's done it a few times tonight, and right there when it really mattered. That was Tyson on O.J. Burrows, who is a safety and not really expected to play great man coverage against the #1 receiver. And Tyson beat Burrows at the line of scrimmage, and a beautiful throw by Levitt was all it took. And Levitt knew it right away. He saw the matchup. He knew right away he was going to go to his top receiver.
Rod, 5 lead changes in this 4th quarter alone.
You can see from that angle, Tyson beat Burrows right off the line of scrimmage and gave his quarterback the entire back right section of the end zone to get the ball to him.
Keep in mind, Kobe Bryant, their great corner, left this game with a leg injury in this quarter.
If Arizona State holds on here for 16 seconds, they'll go to 4-1 and be one of the surprise teams this year with a shot to get to the postseason. They need 6 wins. Last year, they only had 3 all season.
They've won 2 straight here at home, looking for 3rd straight. Little squid kick. Kansas will have it at their own 30 with 15 seconds left and 1 timeout.
Yeah, and I think what you're thinking about doing here, if you're Kansas, you got the 1 timeout, so you want to get yourself somewhere around the 50-yard line with a throw. It can be over the middle, and you can use that timeout and give your quarterback a chance to make a Hail Mary throw into the end zone. But you have to get around the 45, 50-yard line for that to be realistic. So you're talking about a 15 to 20-yard completion here that they desperately need.
Levitt with 4 TD passes. Here's Daniels from his own 30. Throwing over the middle. And that's Wilson. They're going to call a timeout, obviously. Wilson's going to limp his way off the field.
Well, so with 9 seconds left, if you feel lucky, you can actually try and throw a quick out or something to get a few more yards.
Can you read anything on the face of that head coach and what he's probably going through?
He's got to be feeling not again. What's going on? They've had these games and came up on the short end of it the entire month of September, and they start October like this.
Yeah. He's got to be thinking, we finally stopped the bleeding.
Yep.
We just had 2 minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes, and we've got to win.
Yep.
We can change our season.
Yeah. And somehow you just start to feel like you're snake bit. But you're 1 shot here. You got to decide. Can you quickly throw the ball to the sideline and get 5 yards, 7 yards to make it a little bit easier throw? And if you don't believe so, you got to toss it to the end zone. And if you're Arizona State, get 3-4 guys back and knock it down.
This is possibly the game. 9 seconds to go. Daniels throws to the outside to Grimm. Check that, that's Lachlan who makes the catch.
All right, let's talk a little defense here now. I think you got to rush 4 guys. You rush 3 guys, you're going to give Jalen Daniels enough time to gather and make a strong throw to the end zone. So defensively, you should rush 4 and play 3 or 4 back at the end zone and have a couple guys try to bump the receivers as they go down the field. Don't let the receivers cleanly run all the way down the field.
Here's Daniels. And timeout by Arizona State.
I think the mistake that a lot of teams make.
Before the ball was snapped, Arizona State calls their final timeout of the half. It will be a full timeout.
Is that instead of bumping the receivers and slowing them down, defenses allow receivers to just sprint like it's a track meet. And they get down to the end zone, and then it's just a jump ball. But if you disrupt them early in the route, they may not even get down there.
Quentin Skinner, he's got 2 touchdown catches. The senior is, what, 6'5"?
Yep.
You've got Lawrence Arnold, who's about 6'3".
Yep.
So you got some height on the outside if you're Kansas.
And those are both guys who run very well and can cover the 40, 45 yards pretty quickly. And they go with a 3-by-1 set.
This is the game. Daniels. He'll heave it to the end zone. The throw. Knocked away. In their first ever meeting, Arizona State gets the victory over Kansas